Hello, Breakfast Club. Welcome to Monday on Tuesday with Got That Funk. Sister Danger may or may not be putting out another video on this channel later. I'm not sure. I haven't really spoken to her about it, but obviously I'm late from yesterday, and there's a good reason for that, which I'll tell you about in a moment. But you may get 2 videos today from the Breakfast Club. You may not. I don't know. Anyway, so yesterday I missed my day because when I came home from work, my flat was in the process of being burgled. There was an assailant with a hammer. He was threatening my roommate when I came into the room, and we tried to calm him down. He got away with a little bit of stuff, which is a bummer, but it could have been a lot worse. And yeah, I was obviously too shook up to make a video, so there's my disclosure. Anyway, I've been trying to chill tonight. It's not so easy when your residence has been violated. Just casts a different vibe on things. But I did want to make a Breakfast Club video this week, and here it is. I know people are probably sick and tired of hearing about Donald Trump. People have been talking about Donald Trump for well over a year now, pretty much nonstop. And I understand that it's tedious sometimes to hear about it, but it's on my mind, and I haven't really spoken much about it lately. So, except in last week's Breakfast Club video, but even that was brief. Anyway, what I've noticed is when Trump was first elected, one of the instant reactions from people who were trying to sound reasonable were saying, hey, whoa, let's not jump to conclusions. Let's just see how he governs as president. And the fact is, we don't really have a choice as to wait and see how he governs. We can protest, we can write letters, we can make a big fuss about it on the internet. We can create political movements to try to hold him to account to the better things that he said, like not doing anything bad to Social Security, for example. As one example, Trump said he was the only Republican who said he would protect Social Security, and stuff like that. It's important to keep him to. On the other hand, his more bigoted agenda, obviously I would prefer it if he didn't keep those campaign promises. Is that hypocritical of me? No. I'm just valuing the things I valued before Trump was president, and I still want those things as best as possible if Trump is president. I don't think that's an issue. Shouldn't be. After all, he's the one who said it about Social Security, as an example. He said other things as well, which I think an awful lot of Trump voters probably liked. One thing that I think has been getting more or less completely lost in the discussions about the rise of Donald Trump and the election of Donald Trump. And I understand why people don't make the argument very often, but or at least I haven't encountered it very often. But I was saying for the whole campaign and for years before that, Hillary Clinton just has a lot of people who have had very bad feelings towards her since the 90s. Those people were irredeemable. You were never going to get them to support Hillary, and you gave them an opponent which would definitely make them turn out in the polls. I have family members who are Republicans who in the primary said they were never going to be able to vote for Trump, but when Trump was the nominee and Hillary was the opposing nominee, they felt that they didn't have any choice because of their absolute detestation of Hillary Clinton. Whether that hatred is rational or not is not my point. I think there's plenty of reasons to dislike any politician, pretty much, if you dig deep enough. And but Hillary didn't have to dig too deep. That's, I think, part of the issue for so many people. But a lot of people say that they voted for Hillary because they just couldn't stand Trump. And I think what gets overlooked is a lot of people voted for Trump because they just couldn't stand Hillary. And this is one of the reasons why I have a lot of sympathy for people who say we would have been better off with Bernie. Bernie would have had a better chance to win. Better chance to win is something I think is fair enough to say. To say that Bernie definitely would have won, to me, like I said last week, it's just, That's speculation. The fact is, we'll never know. Anyway, so yeah, Hillary had a lot of haters, man. A lot of haters. And obviously it turned out that she had more supporters than haters, because she did get more votes than Donald Trump. And whilst I do understand the logic of people who have talked about trying to flip the Electoral College to reflect the popular vote and so on, I get it, man. I don't hold out a lot of hope for stuff like that. I think we have a long precedent of maintaining the Electoral College as it works out. And even though I think the original intent was as some sort of safeguard to prevent a despot from taking power, and that seems to be what we're in for now, I just don't think it's, unfortunately, obvious enough to the powers that be to get that kind of thing done. So I made a video on my own channel about abolishing the Electoral College. I think that's for the future. I don't think it has any bearing on 2016. 2016 was done under the set of rules that it was done under. People voted with those rules in operation, and quite frankly, whether it's an election or anything else, I don't think you can change the rules after the result. If you're going to change the rules, you change them before the result, which is what we have to do before the next presidential election, or make an effort to do it before the one after that. I mean, to abolish the Electoral College, you would have to have a constitutional amendment. And that usually takes years to achieve. They're necessarily difficult. My friend Deep Ashtray on my video on my own channel made the point that you wouldn't have to abolish the Electoral College if you could find some way to nationally persuade the states to divide up their electors proportionally instead of a winner-takes-all system. Then virtually every time someone won the Electoral College, they would also win the popular vote. And there wouldn't really be any reason for bones of contention after that. And some of the operational advantages and disadvantages would still apply. Obviously, if some candidates or parties were particularly strong in particular areas. But one thing about the Electoral College that I forgot to mention in my video on my own channel is that because of the way it works, I mean, if you live in a deep blue or a deep red state and you want to vote for the opposite party, I can understand why you just might not bother voting. My vote isn't going to make a difference because this state is definitely going to go Trump, or it's definitely going to go Clinton, whichever. And I also think the Electoral College puts too much emphasis on swing states and so on. And I think if we're going to keep the Electoral College, Deep Ashtray's idea is the best way to do that, to get all the states to award their electors by a proportion. So if Trump wins 60% in Arizona and Clinton wins 37%, then she gets 37% of the electors, or nearest rounded up, and he gets the rest. That kind of thing. And that would also not necessarily shut out third parties. If third parties carried particular districts, for example, they might actually get an elector here and there, which under the current system is not possible. And I think, although I understand people's frustration with third parties this time around, I actually agree with Secular Talk, Kyle Kulinski, who basically points out when people want to blame third-party voters, what you're forgetting about is 9% of Democrats voted for Trump. And if those 9% didn't vote for Trump, he wouldn't have won. If those 9% didn't vote at all, he wouldn't have won. So, yeah. With that in mind, I'm going to close this video and open it up for discussion in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and next time, I'll be here on Monday like usual. May all your ups and downs be ups.